Ah. Hi. Thank you. This is my first time doing live at the same time. I'm doing it on TikTok and YouTube. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna see if I can put my background here too. I'm not sure if it's possible. Oh, thank you. Happy birthday. Oh, thank you. Hello. Oh, thank you. This live's not about me really. The live is more about you guys asking questions. For some reason, I can't put pictures in the background. I'm trying to see if I can, but I don't know. So basically, if you guys have questions about spirituality, I reframe spirituality. On my live, in the background, it says, I am living memory. I'm the unveiler and keeper of memory keys, embodiment of origins, channel and philosopher of the infinite. This is a collective curiosity live Q&A. Ask on soul memory mapping, origins, our simulations, watch to come, want to talk with me live, type your topic, personal Q&A for Patreon members, deeper activations and toolkits. Uh-oh. Messages have been taken out. Oh no. So if you want me to talk about Hinduism, you'd have to ask me a question. And by the way, I have TikTok as well, so that's why I keep looking back and forth. This is my first time doing both at the same time, so. That's like, you have to be more specific about the questions. And it has to be more about like bigger topics, like, you know, like I heard blah 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 about blah blah blah. What do you think about that? Okay, someone just asked on TikTok, soul memory mapping, what is that exactly? So this is a process that I help people with. Everyone can do this themselves. But basically when you do this kind of stuff, you are, so when I say energy style, it's kind of like a little string of energy. And when you map your soul, you basically get lots of memory keys. And the memory keys are like little zip files. And when you receive them, there'll be stories. They're not linear. And so usually people think that there's a linear progression, but it's not that way. A lot of the information that we get in those memory keys usually can be things that are related to our life on Earth or here. It's actually a simulation. So yeah. And memories are like putting a memory, like memory in your computer, so it's information, it's you. And memory there's no past. The only way that we should use the word past is when we're talking to someone about an everyday life thing. But when you're in spirituality, it's infinite and there's no past. And also, do you want to come up on here to ask questions? Otherwise, the typing gets out of hand. So Feel free to ask to come in the box. What is your perception of yin and yang? Do you know if you have to understand the dark to be in the light? If you could come up here, that's great, and we'll talk more about that. So someone on YouTube said, how do you know about the purpose of life? So to me, everything is about intention. And so when you put your intentions into stuff, you can't go wrong. I did a video about this recently. It's on TikTok. And basically that's what I said is, someone asked me, like, how can you always be sure? And the reason why you're sure is if you have the intention. So my intention is to empower people so that they can find their truth, and their truth means all their memory keys and information about themselves. And so if my intention is that and all my actions are all about that, you know, that's how I feel confident in it. Oh, you can't come up right now. Okay, I'm going to try really quick, but this is probably going to be the last question for this, because otherwise it's very difficult for me, especially since I have YouTube on at the same time. I'm trying it out new because before I was doing the lives on the TikTok, and then I have to, my computer, speaking of memory, my computer loses memory because the last 2 lives were 4 hours each. And so I had to wait forever for it to, like, it was like crashing my computer. And then when I put it on YouTube, it's like, what's the point when I might as well just do YouTube at the same time? So I'm like, kind of, there's people asking questions on here and I'm like, ah! But anyway. So we're going to go back to, so first there's 2 questions. So we're going to go talk about yin and yang. So yin and yang is a classic example of symbolism. Symbolism is our language of understanding bigger topics that we don't quite understand. So yes, we can see things, we can see, like, you know, light and dark, like when you're like mixing paints, but those are for finite thinking. So that's the part that people kind of get tripped up on. So when you're doing finite thinking, like I said, like black colors and white colors, and you're painting, that is a finite system. It's to get a desired outcome. So when you are painting and mixing those together, what happens is you get a desired outcome, which is gray, right? And so those kind of understandings to do things like I said, finite projects, is okay to use things like yin and yang now, because like in the, you know, other texts and stuff like that, it will relate to those things. But if you want to empower yourself, which that's what I'm here for, and you want to learn about your origins and all of your energy and all those things, and you're tired of just seeing the same things recycled, you came to the right place, because that is basically what I talk about. Because you can get all this stuff from anywhere. You can do a Google search or whatever, right? But that's basically what yin and yang is. So, basically, we'll see. I'm gonna keep that because I don't know how to keep the comments on YouTube. We'll see. Well, 1 second. Okay. Okay, I can see it now, so now it's not as crazy. I'm gonna get to you guys in a second. I'm getting used to this. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about dark. So dark is my favorite topic because dark is all possibilities. So in an infinite way. So when we're thinking in an infinite way, so everything, like bigger stuff, spirituality, point of life, all that stuff, it means that we're not thinking of human systems that are finite. That means we're going to think bigger. We're going to think of our true self, right? And so when we're doing dark, when you close your eyes and there's darkness, that is pure potential. That is infinity. So darkness, the way that we've used it in language, was a symbol that has gotten super carried away because it's an opinion. So I would try to deconstruct this in the way that I would look at when you use the word dark. So when you're using the word dark for something like, you know, like when you're saying what you said, basically, understanding the dark and things like that. So when someone's like, oh my God, they're so dark, or they're using dark or whatever, we were all using dark because it's our potential, but to do it in a way where people say evil, it's just something that is actually like not good. Like it's something that we all think is morally incorrect or not helpful or whatever the case is, right? So that's how we have to remember the case by case kind of situation. And then light also, there is, I'm writing my book, which is about my origins in mapping, and it's going to, I think it's going to help people out. Obviously in my sessions I help people with this, but I think it's going to help people a lot when they see that. It would have helped me if I didn't have to do it on my own and I saw someone else who did it. But apparently I'm the one that's supposed to do it, I guess, whatever. But anyway, when I did this, basically I met like the creation story, kind of. And if you guys go and listen to my podcast, it's in my link in bio. My podcast talks about all these kind of things, and it kind of takes you through it in a linear way. And then on my Patreon, in the first tier, I mixed practicing with energies, which is one of my biggest little what do you call it series, and I basically mixed that with the podcast, and it's going in a way that it's not linear thinking. So a lot of people would be like, "What's going on?" But I do talk about it on the lives when people bring it up. Oh, you can come up. Oh, great. Okay, that's gonna be so helpful. I didn't realize this is so intense. Okay, let me look at these things that people have said here. Hi.
What is the YouTube thing that you're doing?
So I put YouTube because every single time the last live I did, it was 4 hours, and then the night before was 4 hours. And I just realized I'm like, I'm gonna just put on YouTube because YouTube automatically uploads it. So then I won't have to download it from TikTok and stuff. But so it's a bit intense because I didn't expect, I thought no one was gonna come on, and all these people came on, and now I think they've left because they're like, what's happening? But yeah, I'm getting used to it. It's very weird to see me like big and then like it's very intense.
Got it. That's really cool. So can I have like, kind of want to be really transparent with you right now. I've
Sure.
never, you helped me, your energy really helps me tune into to articulate exactly what is like stopping me from being my highest potential.
Yeah, this is my energies, like why it's here. So
Yeah, I love you so much.
oh, thank you. That's so sweet. It means so much to me.
Aw, it's true. Well, okay, so I kind of feel weird about saying this on TikTok, but there's
That's
only
okay.
7 people over here.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, it is going to be on YouTube. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think anybody knows me. It's fine.
Okay.
But basically, so, I've been through the mental health, like, I feel like anybody who really has like spiritual gifts, which everybody does.
Yes,
but, like,
everybody, yeah.
Anybody who's like seeking them out.
Yeah, and starts exploring. Yeah.
Yeah, it can
Yeah.
cause you to start having mental health issues, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've overcame all of them, but I just realized that one of the reasons that I'm afraid to feel empowered was because I went through a period of mania.
Yeah.
And so do you see what I'm saying by
Yeah.
like where I'm getting to?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know how to, I don't know how to tell myself, hey, you're not going to become manic again just because you feel empowered. You know what I mean?
Do you mind me asking what was the little tipping off point?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Like what triggered it? Like just like if you can pick one thing. I know there's might be a bunch, but like one that's like memorable.
Well, the doctors, when I would talk to doctors about it, they just, you know how doctors are. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, it was the substances that you were, and I wasn't even, they call it gardening. I think on TikTok they call it gardening. But it's not like I was doing anything hard. And so I've had people say like, oh, that's not normal for you to have that kind of a reaction off of it. But then I've also met people who are sensitive like me, who are like, oh, I wound up in the psychiatric hospital from gardening.
Yeah.
So when you say the tipping off point, I don't like pointing at a substance and saying, oh, this is what made, because that was already within me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe like what not what you used as in like that. Like I'm talking about concepts. Like
I know.
yeah.
So, like,
oh, okay, you're getting there. Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay, so like to if I dig deeper like what was going, oh, relationship. Okay, yeah. I think it's like I have like completely, I used to have a very skewed view of relationships.
Okay.
And how to have them just based off of what I saw growing up, kind of a thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so, and I've healed a lot. Like, that's actually something I want to chat with you about. The whole,
Sure.
I had a friend say that romance is an illusion, and I'm curious of what your perspective is of that.
Okay. Yeah, but we have to keep. We do. As much as I love this, we have to keep it to, if we can. Unfortunately, because it will get out of hand. Because I am, you know how I am. I'm so obsessed. Like I'm like that we have to keep it to topics that are for everybody. But if you are a Patreon member, then I can do tools so that then it still is for the life, and it'll be personal. But like we can talk about this really quick because I feel like this is important, and I can feel that obviously everything is important, but I can feel like it's important for everybody. So
you choose the topic because I'm good at opening up tabs.
No, you choose the topics, but it's just make sure that they are for everyone and they're not too personal, because if they're personal,
you don't need to go too deep. I don't like.
Oh no, I want to go deep. Don't worry. It's about being personal. So like about personal things, because someone even just brought up personal experience. Well, they said spiritual experiences, but that means personal. So if that is the case, and people want me to, um, bring that up and things like that, I will give you tools and things like that to explore it. Like I won't just tell you things. So I will help you explore it more. Like for example, let's say someone had a dream. This has happened before on the live, and they are a Patreon member and they want to know kind of more about what's going on. Then that's what I would do. I would say, okay, so let's go through that dream, and I'd show them tools so that later they can do it themselves, and everyone else in the live can learn too. So it's like a community little thingy too. So if you're interested in that, it's all the tiers of Patreon, any of them. But we can continue with what we were talking about. But that's but if you can change it in your head and make it like a topic, if that makes sense, then it doesn't matter. Right.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should we stay focused on the whole empowerment?
Yeah, so let's go back to what you were talking about, where you were saying that about mental health. So when what I wanted to talk about is the fact that if you're having, had, and you're worried about, it's important to look at the things that, like for example, if your mental health is like overall in your life mental health, or if you think it's because of spiritual things and thoughts that are kind of like you're having maybe a crisis where you're like, okay, well now that I have to do these rules, or like when people have a crisis about manifestation, or they have a crisis about alien things or stuff like that, is it like that, or is it more like mental health like overall in life, like because it's the matrix is so poop? Like is that
yeah I know how to keep the whole spiritual thing, like I know how to not allow that to consume it, because the whole purpose of spirituality is supposed to bring peace. And so if it doesn't bring peace, then I'm like, okay, well then this isn't for me. I don't need to delve into
that's healthy. Yeah, that's very healthy.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy about that.
When it comes to the world, like relationships, I've healed a lot. But I guess I've just seen, I grew up with, when you see abuse, a lot of abuse, it's like, you start doing it to yourself, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm in this transformation period where it's like, okay, we're not going to do that to ourselves.
Yeah,
like,
I'm proud of you. That's good.
Thanks.
That's great.
But I find myself right whenever I get to the empowerment part, there's something holding me back. Like, you don't deserve to feel that way. Like,
okay.
Because it comes up with different excuses of why.
Okay, so I'm going to give you an example like how I normally would do. I'm going to show you the tool set of what is happening here. So what's happening here, I have an analogy of, if you imagine a little book with pages, And you know, when people say they're like quantum leaping and stuff like that, they're onto something, but it's not quite enough, right? So when you are doing that, it's basically happening all the time. So you know how people are like, I quantum leaped, you always do. So like there's no announcement, right? It's just that you realized you they should be saying, I realized that we quantum leap, right? But anyway, so basically you have these little pages and you can imagine like little characters going through each page, and you have many versions of yourself, and the wounded ones that you ignore that should be your best friends, but we don't care, not should be, but it's very nice. And this is the integration process, one of the types of integration process. So when you realize that you're stuck and you're stopping with anything, doesn't matter, it means that there's little pieces of you that have not been heard, and you're trying to yank and pull them to the next page, and they don't want to go to the next page. So let's say the next page is empowerment, and they're 5 pages back because they've been ignored. So usually we like it naturally always, all this energy work stuff people talk about, it will sort itself out. That's why we'll be stuck and then all of a sudden we're not, and we're like, what happened? It's because we do a lot of work when we're sleeping. There's a lot of stuff happening all the time, and a lot of things that we think that we're not learning, we're learning all the time. So it is, that always sorts itself out. But this is the cool part. So when this happens, this my partner and I have this, we are really bad at making decisions. And when you say, and I just right now caught myself saying bad because that's a part of myself that still thinks it's a issue. We cannot, and this is the way we cannot instead of we're bad at. And so basically when we cannot, it means that we're leaving behind versions of us. So sometimes those versions, they feel heavy, you feel heavy and you're just like, I don't know why I feel heavy. But that I'd say is like a, it's like very unaware. It's like people who are in like executive jobs and they're pulling everything, and they're very unaware. But if you're more aware and you've been working on things and you really are observing and exploring yourself, you're going to start feeling those stuck moments more in a weird way. So you're like, okay, I'm stuck, but I know I want this and I don't get what's stopping me. It's those versions of you. So the toolkit that I recommend doing is writing down a note to each one and talking to each of them. And I do have a little toolkit book. It is called the Spiritual Toolkit book. It's in my link in bio. And there's more things in it, but one of them is this process. And so, yeah, so that's what I recommend doing. You don't even need to have that toolkit, but if you want something that makes it a bit more structured or a good starting point, it can help. But again, you can do this yourself, and it's just literally talking to all those parts, because we think we're like, oh yeah, I'm listening to my, no, if there's definitely some that you're pulling to the next page and they don't want to come. So
what do you know why for you, I mean, I don't know if this is too personal to ask you this,
go ahead, I'll let you know.
Why, when you do talk to those parts of yourself, what's usually the reason they don't want to jump to the next page?
That would be case by case and person to person.
Yeah,
Always, yeah, like it's different all the time, and it happens all the time. So when people say they're healed, that's not possible. What healed means is you have tools that you have either learned in therapy or you've taught yourself secretly somehow to be able to connect with those versions of you. So this is basically what healed is. It's an integration process. It's not actually, people think that there's something wrong and they need to fix. It's just that there's versions of you that are being neglected. That's it.
Can I ask, what is your, everybody has a different purpose, or like a different thing, that the reason why they're here, and what is yours? Like obviously it's to help empower people, but
there's two. We all have two. So the first one is to exist, because you being here, you are pulling in energies into this matrix that are pure and true and real. So that's why when I say people finding out their truth is basically your pure energy that's not in the matrix. And also it's in some kind of, it's in one of the universes. If you want, I can talk more about that. I'm gonna probably save it, like there is some stuff I put on Patreon, but I'm gonna save it for the book. But I don't mind talking about it on the live, but I'm not gonna do like TikTok content or anything, because I think that the collective isn't ready, but people who come to my live always are ready. So if you want to talk about that after, we can talk about it. But anyway, So your pure energy, the energy little mapping stuff that I talk about, coming through, you're streaming it through. So obviously it's like something else, but that's the concept I've come up with that helps our brain understand it. So you think you're in like this, let's say you walk into the, I'm just going to give a little example. So let's say there's like, you're walking around and you're this big being and you walk into a simulation, like a little like thing that's like a ball, and you go inside and then all of a sudden you're like a human and you have like only parts of what you've pulled in, if that makes sense, that you remember, and then you remember all this other stuff. That's kind of what it's like when you start to remember things. It gets more and more like that. So that's basically how that works. So when, oh no, I dropped the thread. I don't know what happened. What were we saying? As soon as I gave that analogy, it just dropped. Oh, the purpose, yeah. So we have that, and then we have the infinite, like infinity, which is everything. And the infinity has more than the creation. So there's the creation, there's infinity, and then there's more. And everything keeps expanding and working together and weaving together, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. So the truth is you, that little version that came into creation, and then not little, but big energy that came into creation. And then there's also the infinite potential that we're all a part of as well. And so both of those are truth, and they're different truths. And then there's other kinds of truths as well, but those are the main truths that are very like your purpose, right? And so I would say that is your energy style. It is the stuff I talk about where you like, it's like the little thread that holds all the different memory patterns that you get, like you receive when you need to receive it, and when it's valuable to know. Like you said, when you feel peaceful, that kind of stuff. That's you, like basically you can think of them as giant beads, like my necklace, and threading them on your energy. And so let's say I have a memory with the original energy of Pan, and they tell me this whole story. That story would be one of the beads, and then the little thread would be my energy. And then let's say there's someone who's connected to the original energy of Pan, and so both of us, it would be we would share energy, we would share the story and energy, because our threads are going to go through both of those, if that makes sense. So like that's how you start to, when you start to really expand and you talk to other energies, this is how you can learn about your energy style and your purpose at the same time. So when you learn the purpose of why your energy wants to stream here, then you start to have like these what people call contracts. And no one, I've never heard anyone talk about contracts in this way, but this is something I do in sessions. I usually don't talk about in lives, but the contracts are basically when you get to know your style of energy, you get to know quite a bit of the little like mapping parts, and when you learn a bit of about that, you can start to it's not really a contract. It's basically just what the how much and the type of that energy is streaming on default to keep you alive, and also for what needs to happen in the simulation, or what they wanted to give to the simulation, or whatever, right? And it's, and all time is now, so it's not like what they wanted. I'm using that so it makes sense in the sentence, but it's actually like happening always forever, right? And they pass the baton. So if you go, then another one comes to do it, if that makes sense, to hold it. So that's our main purpose. That is like, you can literally sit on a couch your whole day and you've done your purpose. That's the main true purpose. The second purpose is, I give an analogy that's kind of, it's a bit whimsical and cute. You go on a business trip, and the business trip is basically like in Thailand or something like that, and you've never been there. So you're gonna have a lot of time off and work there. So what are you gonna do? Your purpose to go to on the trip is to work there, right? And that's why you're going there. But at the same time, you get to explore Thailand on your free time. How do you do that? That's up to you. So that's your second purpose. Now, you can mix those two, which I have done, and you can learn about all of the stuff, your energy style, all these things, and that. And then when all of that comes together, your next phase for this is to basically put it all together, and you know your style, and you make your version in this matrix. Does that make sense? So in a way, you could have two, you could have one, you could have two, or you could have three.
That's really cool. Could you summarize the second purpose? Because
Yeah, that's okay.
The first is to exist, and and then the second.
Yeah, and pull in the energy. And then the second is when you start to decide what you want to do, like on a business trip. So, like, let's say you went, like I said, the analogy with Thailand. So, what are you going to do on your spare time to explore Thailand? How are you going to engage with people? Do you want to learn the language there? Do you want to eat cool food? Do you want to do all of it? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I'd say that's like your experience one. So, like someone who's doing, what do you call it? We'll give an example. Someone who went into medicine, so like they're a nurse or something. That person, that would the fact that they did that and went to school and learned those skills, that would be the second purpose. And then the first purpose would be the way that they do it. So when they're helping people and being a nurse, the style of how they do it and their energy, what it's doing while they're doing it, and just all their things while they're just being a human, that would be the first purpose coming through while they're just doing that second one. The third one is rare, and I don't know so far, like the energies I talk to so far, I'm the first to do this, the third one. But I don't know if they're like just saying that. Like sometimes I'm like not sure. But so far, from my knowledge, I'm the only one that has done it, and I've also there's a few people that have been following me for a while, and have been in the community, and I know that they've started doing it. So.
That's really cool.
But yeah, you can do it too, and everyone could do it. It's just that they just didn't think of it. It's not that I'm like, you know what I mean. Everyone could do it.
Do you have any time today for me to schedule? Like, I don't know if you're booked up today or not.
Let's see, what time is it?
It's, let me see.
I think it's 9. Usually this is my last time to do it.
I forgot you're somewhere else.
Yeah.
In the UK.
Let's see, what day is it? What day is it tomorrow? Is it Friday?
Yes.
Oh, are you free Friday? Because this is the time, I think, my cutoff time. I'm available tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, let's what time?
I would look on the calendar because of the time difference, because otherwise my brain is like weird about.
No, my brain has like it's been difficult for me to schedule stuff with people. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what it is about the calendars. I don't know what it is.
That's why that calendar I think is good. If you have any questions and it's being weird, please message me. But it should be okay. I made sure that it's okay so that people can like.
Yeah, it should be simple, and I'll go in tomorrow and I'll try to schedule with you. But like,
okay.
I'm tired of like blocking myself off from enjoying life. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, you have the key, and I'm so grateful that you're helping.
Yeah, you have the keys. I'm just showing you where your keys are, or that you have the keys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. Sorry to the people on YouTube. I'm like I said, I don't know if you've just joined, but I'm confused about this, and this is my first time with both. Let's see. And it doesn't show people. It comes up on the screen and then disappears, and I'm like. Oh, hi, Ruby and Janine.
I'm gonna hop in the comments, but thank you so much.
Okay. Oh yeah, and thank you for coming up. That it's very helpful because then we can do the back and forth. See, it's way better.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Oh, thank you so much for coming up, and nice to meet you, Isabella, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice to meet you, Isabella.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, Camille.
Hey.
Hello.
What an awesome conversation. I didn't want to interrupt, but then as you were starting to talk about the purpose stuff, I was like, oh my God, I need to talk about this because that's what we talked about in our one-on-one.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's so funny because it's something that, like, I was so worried about and, like, what am I doing? And I really feel like something clicked.
Yes.
After that obsession.
I love the clicks.
I've been, like, less concerned about it, and but then also there's been just like I'll give you an example. So
yeah, go ahead.
Yesterday I had lunch with a friend, and he like just got laid off from a job, and he like wanted some advice, and I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm helping him with, you know, career advice, and like, because I used to be a recruiter and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just having a good time. Like, it
Yeah.
was just like, you know, we're drinking matcha, and like it's really cool.
Love matcha.
Has artwork in it. We're laughing. We're going through things. And at the end, you know, first of all, time flew by. Like, he was like, we just sat down, and I'm like, an hour and a half, like, flew by. Like, both of us were like, did we go through a portal? Like, how did this time go by? Right? And at the end, he's like, oh my gosh, I owe you so much. I need to, like, take you out to dinner or show. I was like, no, what? Like, I would do this. What are you talking about? Like, to him, it was like I did the world, right? And me,
I'm so glad that you experienced this, and like consciously, because this is what it is. That's you finding you're like, really, remember how you wanted to know about your energy style? Here's one of them. There you go. You're like, I'm just existing.
That's what I'm saying. That's what was so crazy about it. And it clicked for me, like, as I was like driving home, I'm like, that was so natural and so easy and so fun. And first of all, like, he wanted to like reimburse me. I'm like, I would do this for free. What are you talking about?
Yes, and because he can feel the value, because the value is you're sharing your truth with him, with the true energy of you. And he's like, oh my God. And he's actually respecting it. And he was like receptive and everything. So yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to share that because when
I love it.
Talk about,
like, thank you for sharing that. I love it.
It was just like so good. And but then the second thing that clicked from that is I realized, I'm like, oh wait, I've been having experiences like that, but I've been discounting them. That I'm just like, oh, well, that's just, you know, me being me. But I'm like, but yes, that is me being me. That's the point.
That's the point.
Why am I discounting that?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, as I've been going into my, you know, I don't know, normie job or whatever you want to call it, like.
No, but that would be remember the secondary purpose. It's something that you choose to do. That's just because you feel like it. Like you're in Thailand and you're experiencing Thailand. Remember?
Right.
So
like
that's it's not don't say normie. That's mean. Remember?
Right. You're right. Like, so.
You wouldn't say that if you were working in Thailand. You'd be like, I'm gonna do my normie stuff. You'd be like, I'm gonna go and like explore Thailand.
Right. You know what? And that's a good point, because as I've been, like, you know, meeting with people, having meetings and stuff like that, I'm feeling less pressure than I did before. Like, I was so concerned, like, for instance, I was so concerned about, you know, I'm in the United States, so everything is so competitive and like, how am I being viewed and blah, 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 blah. And this past week or so, I've been more like, okay, well, I'm just going to go in and like try to do best by the people that I work with. Yeah. And like kind of maybe have a little fun if I can, or, you know, be helpful if I can, and just see kind of what that feels like. Yeah. And it's so... I feel like I can sleep so much better at night, because I'm not constantly like, oh my God, like my metrics and blah, blah, blah. It's just kind of like, well, no, I'm going to like do the thing that I feel like I'm here to do, which is to help the people that I work with. I know that's super big, but I don't want to talk about like exactly what I do. Yeah, but it's just, like, I get it. Right? No, I also remember from our session, so yeah. Yeah, so you understand the context. I get it. Like, you know, I want to try to help the people I can, and, you know, make it not like pulling teeth when I do. And it's like, you know, that's really cool. And then everything else that I'm working on, I'm just kind of like trusting that whenever I take an action that feels good, it's because it's what I want to experience in my personal business or in my artwork or whatever, you know. So so good things have been happening. Yay! Oh, that's what I love to hear. Yes. Your infinity is pouring in. Yes, and I still need to get the other workbook on like the techniques and whatnot. The building bridges one I've been using, but I know you have another workbook. And I'm gonna do I think probably in a few weeks, because let's see. Yeah, we'll see. I think in a few weeks, like I'm gonna be doing my TMI, but my what do you call it? Like, because I have intense periods, so I had to take the, you know, those weird little, not those things that I forgot the name of, like Marina coil or whatever.
I like, it's like a thing like that. So I keep saying procedure, and people are like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be probably gross. It was gross when I first got it, but anyway. But yeah, I'll probably like. I'm planning that I'm gonna just work on the next, because there's a part 2, and also I want to do a shadow one. And so yeah, I have the shadow one ready to go. I just haven't put it together, and I haven't drawn the little pictures and stuff. So but yeah, that's soon. And yeah, but anyway, yeah. And also I got really excited because I since I'm always obsessed with looking for new ways to put stuff up, and like how to help people like make it easier and stuff. And so I did find this new thing, because I'm also in like the art community. And when you like do digital painting, people sell like little what do you call it, brushes and stuff like that. And so I found that, and I'm like, yes, because they now let you download finally, instead of me just emailing them like all weird, because it's so weird, like all the website things don't let you do that, and I'm like, whatever. But anyway, so I found that, and then also I'm gonna be uploading on there the meditations I want to do too, so people can feel the different sizes of themselves and like explore that. So yeah, I'm gonna be putting all those up soon. So.
Oh, I'm excited. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're really fun to do, so I can't wait to do it.
I love all of that stuff, and yeah, I don't know. I think what's so interesting, like I've been reflecting also on just like the spiritual community in general, right? Which, you know, what a fun bunch that we all are collectively. But the thing that is, I keep noticing now more than anything else, and not to like, you know, poop on anybody else's stuff. But
you're
like,
reframing.
There's so much, like, fear.
I call it reframing.
Like fear stuff, like people like, you know, being like, oh, you know, beware of destruction and like that kind of stuff. And I'm wondering if you have a perspective on like,
I do.
Why that is. I'm also going to mute myself because I'm about to feed my toddler.
If you, don't worry. If you can think of, if you want to unmute in a second, if you can think of specific ones, because then I can go really into it. Hello, by the way, to the eternal person that's in here.
I mean, like, so some of them,
because there's a lot,
are kind of like, you know, beware, like, you know, if you don't do XYZ practice, you're not going to. I mean,
okay, that one is that's a religion situation, so we can talk about that. And then there's like end of the world stuff. There's resets. There's all those. So like, let's pick one of them.
Well, so it's let's go with the like, if you don't do this, you're not going to ascend thing, because quick story that I have, and I want to hear your opinion on this. I got into like an argument with another healer about this, because she believes in like this, like the split, and that like some of us are going to a different planet. And I was like, no, like I really don't believe in that. I think some of this is kind of speaking to something that's true, but it's more metaphorical. Like it's not like there's not another Earth that like some of us are going to go to. Like it sounded like the rapture, the way that she was like. Yeah,
the roots are in Christianity, and all the books. Like, what do you call them? The books.
Like Dan Brown and like.
No. Yes, but like the book. What do they call those religions? The Abrahamic religions. I don't know. Whoever one of my energies is like the books, and I'm like, okay. So probably they're talking about like Quran and, you know, like all the ones, like they're like, you better do this so you can go and have a cool thing or whatever. It comes from that, and the roots come from that. And whether those New Age people and even if they're not New Age, doesn't matter. Anyone that is subscribing to stuff instead of working on themselves and learning about themselves, which they don't know that's a possibility. That's I guess why I'm here, right? But they're focused on external, like new, like if this is the thing is, oh my god, there's a lot coming through. Hold on a second. The problem with this, what the translation is first there's people who are in pain because it's a system, and they don't know it's a system that they're leaving, and they call deconstructing. So they basically go from one system to another system instead of finding their truth. And so when you go to one system to another system, you have some issues. So I'm going to give an example. So um, let's say, okay, so let's say like you grow up with like Catholic or something like that, and it's like very liberal, and it's like very actually healthy, like no one told you to do anything, and it wasn't like the types that are in like all intense and stuff like that. And you still feel a bit shame because in the Catholic Church there's all these steps, and you're supposed to do those steps in that way, or and like even the final rites, so that you are complete or whatever. And it's not super strict, but it is kind of in the way that people like family members expect you to do the baptism, all the things, the steps, right? And so and there's other things too, and it depends on each like little church and stuff like that. But let's say that's what happens. And you are confused because like I'm going from me basically. You're confused because basically no one is, if you want to go deeper into the stuff that they're talking about, and they won't. And so you're like, okay, I'm not leaving because I don't like this. I'm leaving because they don't want to go further, and I do. And so that's what happened to me as like I'd say teenager 20s ish or whatever. I was like, okay, well this isn't enough for me, and the gods are calling. Like, you know what I mean? And so I'm lucky because I know this sounds a bit like, I always am careful, but like I still feel like it feels like I'm full of myself, but literally like a lot of the stories are about me, about my energy. And so I'm so lucky like that when I read those, I, even if I felt weird about it, I still am like, I feel cozy and I don't care. Like people are like, that's fake, and I'm like, I don't care, I love it.
No,
and so
I feel that with you too though, because like I think I mentioned before that I don't like labels. I do, you know, if I have to, I tend to call myself a Christo-pagan because like I definitely connect with some of those energies, and it's like I've had to do, you know, my own deconstruction, but I had the same thing that I'm like, the gods are calling. Like Persephone is here too. Like Yeshua is, and Mary Magdalene, but like, and so Persephone is as well.
And so I was like, okay, these stories are deep, and there's all kinds of things to go with this. They're talking to me, so I'm just going to add this. So for me, I just added things. That's what I did. And so to me, I used to say this, and my mom didn't like it. But I used to say that religion is art that got out of hand. So it is art, and if you take away rules, it's actually really cool art, and that's what art is for. It's supposed to remind you of your home, and it's supposed to remind you of everything, and also get a taste of other people's truths. But instead, there's rules attached to it. And so this is the other thing that I enjoyed about just gods in general and the stories. Because any story, there's no rules. You just read it and you're like, yes, right? You don't need to do rules and prescribe to do another thing. Okay, so now that we talked about this, that is kind of the thing. I'm setting the stage. So this is just from being in this matrix with this mindset, and then like, you know, going in stages where the layers keep going and going and going and go deeper and deeper and deeper. And then finally you realize that all of this stuff is fine, even the rules kind of, because they're actually ways for people to understand why they do things. Why do they need to be like this? Maybe they need to make this structure. Maybe that structure needs to fall down for them to realize that this is actually blah, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this. And then you start to realize that all of those things are fine. But if you don't get that opportunity, like we have, what happens is these people stay in they just replace. So what we did is we just kept those things, it helped all those things keep going down as needed, right? And like coming off, right? Although the veils are like, shoo, 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 right? But these people didn't get the opportunity, they replaced it. And when you replace it like this, and you rely on external, and you have no idea about anything else but that, you're going to keep looking for new systems, because once they let you down a bunch of times, that's the next thing that needs to happen. Like they let you down, let you down, let you down, let you down. And then the people, like with the alien stuff, they're constantly like, they're gonna save us. I'm like, why does it have to be about saving? Why can't it just be like you're interested in it and you're interested in like alien cultures and stuff? Why does it have to be about saving? What is that?
Right.
And that's what it comes from. It comes from those roots. It's from someone who had this, everyone, like not just one person. So these people who had this, and then they're like, okay, now I'm interested in aliens. I'm gonna pick that how that was and have this now.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to now. Okay, so that's again the groundwork again. Now we're gonna go to why they're doing this, like not just like why that, but like why are they doing this in general? Are you gonna be okay? I'm tilting. He came to change from Jim, so I'm just tilting it so you guys don't have a show as well. It's fair. It's
Your
fair.
background's on. So
Yeah. No, but he kind of shows up in that one, but then the YouTube one, 100% he's gonna be in it.
Oh no! Oh god.
Okay, anyway, I fixed it. Okay, so we're gonna get into the reframing part, and this is what you can tell them, but a lot of them are gonna get mad, but it's okay, because it needs to be done and said. So feel free to talk about this. So basically, when they talk about this, I get a little bit sad for them because it's actually old news. So New Earth already happened, and New Earth was about having bigger energy available in the Earth universe. Forget about planets. Just forget about planets. We'll talk about. We're gonna throw away planets right now for this, and then we're gonna introduce planets back. So planets are gone. There's only universes. Any god you know of, any bigger energy you know of, you can assume, even though it might not even be the case, you can assume they are some kind of universe.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No planets. So you just like shift to shift the things. You know how we think we have to go from like a ball to a ball to a ball. You just shift in like your perspective. That's how universes work from their perspective. Okay. So that's what's happening with that. Then there's the matrix, right? So we're in this matrix in a universe, right? So the matrix means, it used to be rough drafts. They used to be like a little notebook, like that. The first one, which we are actually in the first, the origin of matrix, the idea why they even exist. So Sophia, one of the Sophias, because there's like so many types. This type of Sophia was using this little pocket place to put rough drafts in all the time. And so when that was happening, this matrix was there, and it ended up being later when ours. I'm not going to go through that because that's a lot. You already probably know because of the Patreon voice note. But basically, that little pocket became like a hybrid. It's like half that pocket, but like its own little being, and then half matrix that is. Huh? Oh my god! Hold on a second. Okay, go. It's okay, go. I'm just putting it up for a second. Oh, technology.
Right.
Are you okay? Tell me when you're safe. Okay. Because it can see the hallway, by the way, just so you know. Okay. So back to the thing. So, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because this shows you the old news. Okay. So from our perspective in this little matrix. Oh, wait. First, I'm going to finish what matrix is. So matrix is because, okay, in the universe, like I said, you switch from being to being and to like all these things. And it doesn't really have it can be a physical experience, but it's not physical. It's hard to explain. It's not like how we have it, because this is these are rules and like little, we have all these, the things that science has looked into, like has measured. We have all these little systems and things like that we haven't built, like that have been built so that we can experience in a very specific way. So that's what it became. Matrix became like not just like a rough draft place. It became that. But in that story where the like that you probably heard already, where Gaia is not what people think. She's like universe stuff. It's very complicated. But she jumps into that little pocket to save her universe. So that's what makes it two. And then she becomes like a little version, like a planet in that matrix. So that matrix is now kind of Saturn, which is like going to confuse people, but I guess we can, he wants to be called Saturn now, but we'll just say Kronos for now. So Kronos and Gaia, Gaia's inside Kronos, so Kronos becomes like kind of like alive. And so that matrix is the first matrix where they start tweaking and doing rules, because then gods jump in, and that's why there's other little planets. So it's the way that they, when they jump in, that's how they become, right? And so they stream from their universe into here. Not all of them, but we're just saying, just for this little example, it's very case by case and energy per energy, but we're making it a bit like easy because that's not the whole thing. So anyway, yeah. So that's how it is, like big scale. It's always happening. There's all kinds of things like this going on everywhere. And I'm going to draw this, by the way, everyone who's confused. I'm going to do 3D stuff with it, and like it's going to be really cute, and like even people who get it, it's going to be really fun, because they're going to be like, oh, like, you know, when you read a book and then you get to see the movie, it's going to be like that. So don't worry, I got you guys. Because I know, like, even me, like, this has been years of them trying to tell me, and they're like, get rid of planets. And I'm like, okay, but wait. And so now the planets are gone, and I'm here. They were very proud of me. It was like 3 days ago. They're like, okay, planets are officially gone. Yes. And I'm like, okay. So yeah. So the planets are in the simulation. It's part of the rule set. And in this simulation, there is dimensions. There is realities, realms, all these things, and they had to be made, and like, so we have the experience we have right now. So we're not like shifting, like I said, like what it's like outside of here. You literally get to have the experience of one for now, and you can kind of have a look at stuff or whatever, but you're like locked into one, right? And you're kind of like, the pressure of how you're almost everything is what makes you, like, we think small, but it's actually that it's so dense, if that makes sense, because you're like everything. So anyway, so that's what's going on with that. Now, the Earth universe and the Matrix, and so I'd say mostly the Earth Matrix, or not the, I guess it's the Earth in the Earth Matrix, whatever, right? They decided to add more. No, it's actually just, sorry, it's just this matrix. They decided to add more energy to it, right? And before, they were locking it down because of those things that, you know, some of them are the reptilian things, some of it is fae things, some of it is bigger energy things that people don't know about. There's a lot of things that needed to happen to lock it down, so that they can only come in very tiny ways, and like, it's not intense, and it's in specific areas. It's very intense, and I talk about it in a lot of stuff, so it's not like, you guys can like dig if you want. It's gonna be definitely on the Patreon. I know I talk about those kind of things. But anyway, so it's like getting access or not. So the way that, where we are right now, the way that it was, in quotes, for us, was capped at higher self. And higher self is not what people think. Like, it's always all over the place. This higher self that I'm talking about, I only keep it higher self because it has to do with the matrix, which is about measurement and all that stuff. It is the holder of all your anchor points inside here, right? And so all of them, basically, that is like the combination, and it's one being. So you can like talk to that being, and people are like, I'm talking to my higher self, and they think it's like the goal or whatever. It's not. It's the whole of everything, and it's not there's no past things. They're just holding it. And so if you talk to them, you get to know about all those versions, and I call them kind of your Earth Matrix higher self, if that makes sense. So that was the cap. And then they would get your truth and information and filter it through, because they would know kind of what's going on, and like accordingly. And there's a lot more to it, but I'm just keeping it simple. So that is what people's knowledge was. So even if they got really cool information, like for example, I just don't want to say her name, but Deloris Cannon annoys me because she was very in pain, and she just used people and on accident, kind of, because she was in pain and whatever. She didn't do her own work, and she could have. But anyway, we're not going to go there. But she's an example of that. So basically, she couldn't, like, that's, like, she didn't think, oh, let me do this for myself. Right, she didn't think that because of that. So that's why I can't be too mad at her, because, like, even though I'm like, because everybody's like, oh my God, Deloris. I'm like, no. But it's because of this. It's because she couldn't. And there's a lot of gatekeeping that happened too, because people would reach a certain point and they'd be like, okay, well, I got to this point and I can't do anything more. But the funny part, there's a loophole, because everything in this learning teaching dimension that is part of the matrix is dedicated to limiting humans based on their own systems and limitations. So that's big versions and small versions. So like your internal reality and external reality, right? So if you were to just all of a sudden know this, like I knew it because of my memory, so I could do all of this before that as well. But it was because I am that. So I was able to do it because I knew that it's a possibility. So it's not that people couldn't do it, it's just they didn't know it's a possibility. That's it. So anyway, so that's all those information, all those people talking. She talked about the earth splitting. She talked about that. She was obsessed.
Yeah.
She kind of started it. There's other people who talked about it too, obviously, but it was really her. And this is when you're in a session like those hypnotherapy sessions, it's going to be limited based on the practitioner and the person. So if this person refuses to work on themselves, they're going to only get let's say this person worked really hard on themselves and they like really went and explored and they're like, oh, Dolores Cannon is amazing, and they went. And Dolores Cannon, when she was doing that, she was like I said, refused. The information and the weird things they're going to get are always going to be capped right there, right? They're going to be capped. And so this is why these can be really amazing, because if the practitioner has more, experience and things like that, they can pull it through, because again, it's about what you know. Like if you know that it's a possibility. So that symbol and those libraries that I talk about, the symbols she had, she was talking about the earth splitting. There are so many stories energetically about things splitting. But if you don't know that earth is a universe, if you don't know that, that person's energy could be, I don't know, the original energy, like she could be connected to Gaia. She could be, and Gaia, remember, Gaia is not the planet. It's like she's more than that.
Right.
Let's say there's so many things that symbol could mean. And so when you say this out loud to people, and you don't know the reference point or what's going on, you're just literally just translating from something random, and you didn't ask a specific question, and it's just like someone's like, hey, I want to know about myself, and then they get that message and she's like, oh, this is a message I intercepted about the blah blah blah. No, that was about probably that person, and that was a memory key for that person, and it's like I said, encrypted, because like they both don't know something, or it's capped at her or whatever. So that's one thing. Then so that's the like main thing that's going on. But people thinking something is coming is such a distortion, which is, remember, the growth thing. It's such a distortion that I am slowly energetically chipping away. And that's basically that. It's people not empowering themselves. It's people not knowing that they have a rich inner world that they don't even need to build. It exists. They're using it all the time. So this is what that is. So someone thinking this and thinking that something's going to be saved, it's not perfect, it needs all these things. These are people they're not empowered. They're not empowered, and they have no sovereignty at all. And it's because of themselves not wanting it. But it also is because they didn't get the opportunity. So it could be either or both. So like someone didn't, like, how I'm like, I always talk about the silver platter. I'm like, here, like no one did that. So like, how are they gonna know, right? So yeah, that's that. There you go. That's the answer to it. I don't know if that helps.
No, that really is helpful, and it's given me a lot to think about as far as like when I interact with folks that I vehemently disagree with, that I can, bring just a slightly different perspective. The reason I brought it up is because I think on the first live that I joined, I talked about how I had a couple teachers that kind of went down these weird rabbit holes. So it's something that has come up a couple times for me, is like, doomsday people almost.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
to
To be honest, I feel like I think for me, when I was struggling to know what my intention was, like I knew, but I didn't really focus and refine it, I tended to come across this. So when you have that intention, you will be able to, those people are coming to you because you probably do have, like they needed that moment or something. Like it depends, like it could be anything. But if you feel like it feels right, like what's her name, Isabella, that was up here, said that it was nice. I mean, it was nice what she said, where you feel peace. So if you're in that situation with those people and it's like they're talking about that and they're very afraid and you feel peace, it probably means that you probably have something that you have it, your, you know, your global intention that you have is going to be good for that. So
Interesting.
I think that because if you think about it, if you have an intention and you say, this is what my perspective is from this intention, that person doesn't feel threatened.
Yeah.
They also are like, let me, they probably want to explore more. And then if they're ready, maybe they want to explore with you. So that's what I would do. I would, every time they come up, like, I would just start refining it. But like, okay, so what would be my intention that I always do for everything? Like, not just for this. And just be like, am I forgetting that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that is a really good point. And yeah, I'm glad I got your perspective on it, because it's come up multiple times.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and then also I want to bring this up again for anybody who's watching also. Resets or things changing in a big way, they come from everyone coming together, which has not happened. One. It can't be just a few groups of people. It has to be every single person. Like it has to be like 99% of everyone. That's like even places that we don't even know exist. So no, that would change everything. Like literally, like let's say everyone came together and they figured this out, which you never know. It could happen in like 50 years from now, but probably not. If everyone came together and they all decided that they want to every day change into a different version of themselves, the external reality would be like that. And so since no one's doing that, they're not even doing it for like normal stuff. That's why when people say these things, they say, oh, this is all good. No, it's not possible. Like it's not. But the thing where they say that, you know, oh, in history there was a flood or anything like that, because also the Anunnaki stuff is coming back, and I'm actually I'm disappointed in it, because people don't, not only do they not know. Okay, so I'm 100% sure that no one has talked to Anunnaki, because they have, but they've been talking to the thought forms. They have not been talking to the God versions, and they've not been talking to the, they're still kind of God versions, but they're more of the stories. So there's the stories that are like your memory soul stories. And some of them have been, you know, stitched together with human stuff in thought forms. So there's a lot going on with that, but people have not talked about it in that way, in the way that they've actually learned about a story that they've gone through that's not about Earth at all. As in like how people go on Earth, there are humans and they tried to get us. If they talked about it in a way where they said like something else, maybe, but they don't. And so that's one thing that annoys me. And then the second thing that annoys me that they're bringing it up is they're using it as them coming back to to make it into a biblical thing with the water. And so basically what happens is there's two things happening when people tap into this. So a reset means that they're changing this already happened. This happened twice in the last 2 years. And no one knows. Like this is something that happens. It's like a combination of the bigger energies, the actual matrix, and humans mixed together of what's going on, where they decide to change it. And it's not easy. It's like a very long process, and it's not like that. It's gradual. And so there's already been two, like I said, and they are big. So like it's just like you basically, everything is like, there's things that I know. I got really freaked out on the one that was recent because there's things I know. This is when I got a little bit freaked out, because freaked out and not that I'm scared, but I'm just like, oh my god, this is so weird. There's things that we had and did as humans, and I don't know what they are. Like, they went away because it's changed. I know it changed for the better, but I don't like not knowing that. Uh, and they have felt, they kind of were like, my energy's like, sorry. And so that, and when I'm in my dream, they remind me when I go to sleep. And then I kind of forget, but I've remembered a couple times and then I forget again.
Yeah.
And because it's the rules. So I can remember everything but the rules. Like the rule, because I'm in a human. So when I'm out, I get to remember again. But anyway, so yeah, I'm not happy about that, but it is, I mean, it's happened already, like even when I didn't know, but like now I know. And so I felt very weird about that, because I'm like, oh my god, what was it? They're like, it's for the best, each time they tell me. But anyway, so sometimes it's not, like sometimes it's like, no, my energies didn't like the decision or whatever, but it doesn't matter. There's like all kinds of stuff that happens anyway. So when people are thinking that, like they think the Anunnaki come in, they're gonna just reset it. No, and why would it just be Anunnaki when there's so much stuff going on? It's like the reset is like, it's so complicated and it takes so much time, and it's an ecosystem. There's not like these beings that come and they're like, okay. It's not like that. That's like what humans do, but it's not.
I was gonna say, I think that's us projecting
it is
like colonization,
it is
onto everything else, and also like learned helplessness, like like
exactly.
Sky Daddy saved me, Sky Alien saved
exactly.
me, kind of
exactly.
Like, it's
or
like,
they're not bad, and then they're like, yeah, they are bad, and like I'm like, you guys haven't even right. And the other thing that makes me upset is there are translations, and I have a background with like ancient texts and stuff, and I know that these translations are not true translations. They're translations that are people have access to. It's very hard to get those translations because a lot of them were on tablets, and they luckily are doing the AI thing, so they are going to translate them so everyone can have it. But I think it's going to take, there's so many. People think there's just like barely any. There's so many. Like there's 1 million in the British Museum, and they're like starting with those, but there's more everywhere. And a lot of them are receipts and funny things, but like, but there's a lot of stuff. And so for people to think they know with these tiny stories, I'm like, no, you need to find your story. Like, find it. That's what we did on the live, remember? Everyone should be doing that.
I mean, and honestly, I have to go real quick, but
that's okay.
I swear I could talk about this forever.
Me
like
too.
Anytime, it kind of like the way that I lost track of time when I was helping my friend with their resume. Like I lost track of time now. I was like, oh my god, like I need to get my evening going. But I think the crux of all this, why I wanted to come up and chat real quick, is like, I just feel like there's a lot less pressure now.
Good.
And that I can kind of just like enjoy these mysteries and continue learning more about who I am.
Yeah.
And continue just like experiencing who I am and what that means. And like, whereas like a couple weeks ago, I was like, I gotta know. But now I'm like, no, I do know.
And you will know as well. Like you will, it's just about you building your library, and you can even ask. That's the cutest part, is you can literally ask. Be like, hey, I want to know this. I know it's like messing me up. How do I go about doing this without burning my brain?
Yeah, exactly. Right? And that's just...
Because I do burn my brain, so I do know that.
Yeah.
I do know that happens. And
no, I'm trying to take it a moment at a time. But anyway, always have fun. I have to go and do life things. But can't wait for the next one. Thanks for letting me know.
I'm gonna go soon probably too, because the other ones were 4 hours. It's great.
Oh my god.
But I mean, I hope that this works on the YouTube, because I really don't want to download it anymore. It's so annoying.
Awesome. Alrighty, I'll see you later.
Bye. If anyone wants to come up, if you read the back, you just need to type your question or topic. Today, I feel like doing the reframing spirituality. So if you have topics or things that you heard people say in spirituality that gave you anxiety or makes you feel kind of afraid, like that is kind of what's the vibe today. But obviously you can ask other questions too. Personal personal things are actually tools that I will give you, and they are for Patreon members. You can be any of the tiers, so feel free to do that. And people who are on YouTube, I'm sorry, this is my first time doing this. I have no idea what's going on. I did this because last week I did 2 lives each day for 4 hours, and so it was very intense to download it from TikTok and then put it on YouTube. So I think it just directly does it. We'll see what happens. I'll let everybody know. But yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what to do when I leave. I wish that they helped you. Like, no. Let's see. Live chat. Why doesn't it stay here? Are you guys still here? Is anybody still here on YouTube? For some reason it doesn't stay up. Okay. I think if no one wants to come up to ask the reframing spirituality, we might call it a night. And tomorrow we can maybe I'll see if I have time. I might have sessions, so I'm gonna check that out first. But if not, I can come again. Let's see how. Let me try this out. I mean, at least thank you for everybody who came on the live to show that it's working. Okay, I think it says create post. Okay. How do you save the live? Okay, let's see. I think it'll just save, right? Okay. I'm gonna look on my laptop. But yeah, if you guys want to come on, it's still on live. I don't know what's happening. I'm still figuring this out on YouTube. Also, sorry for anybody who watches the one on YouTube. All my clothes there. They're just drawers that have my clothes, and sorry, it's weird. Okay, hold on, let me see. I'm gonna look at how to save the live. How to save the live on an iPad on YouTube. Oh, do you wanna come in the box? So your question is, how has the idea of enlightenment changed with the new energies? Did you want to come up? Okay.
Hi.
Hello. Hello. Okay.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
How's mine?
Good to see or hear you.
This is sorry, my name is Azad.
Oh, nice to meet you. Even though I've seen you on here, but nice to meet you in the talking.
Yeah, I guess that's like, I know you talked about how like different things are meant for different people. So like the idea of like I don't know, just as an example of like Buddhism and the idea of enlightenment and Buddhism, like came through to certain people, and then it probably those energies probably formed and like
exactly
reified into structures and thought schools and so on.
Exactly.
And so I guess I'm one, and they were able to do things like fly and stuff, like because the rules were probably different like way back when. And so,
keep in mind, remember there's no past, and keep in mind there's different dimensions, realities, all these things. And so when we're getting these information, we don't have the context of where, when, why. And so when we get that context of where, when, why, then that information changes as well. And so I feel like a lot of that there's no context with those. So once you have context, then you can see how that kind of information of what people are doing and things like that is going to apply, and also it's going to apply to what you're working on or wanting to know, if that makes sense. So it always has to be like the intention and the context. And so like, for example, the Bible is a good example of this. There are millions and millions and millions of artists and speakers and things that have happened in this matrix, not in this matrix, all kinds of things that are in the book, right? And so when people say that, oh, well, because this is here, this is this, it's not as helpful as, okay, I want to know this. I'm going to go see how many people talked about this. Are they people? What did this come from? Why? And that kind of stuff. So when we go into any kind of thing that has especially rules or desired outcomes, that's when we have to do that. We have to strip away the human part and then go into the infinity to actually get the information. So that's what I would do when it comes to Buddhism or any religion, really, because they are going to have a rule set, and rules automatically mean human, because rules don't exist, and rules only would exist in the sense of how something's put together, like a structure, as in like functionality, like a matrix thing, like a machine, basically. So it wouldn't be like it wouldn't be your truth, basically. It would be how to do something here, like, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
I think so. Maybe like my question started somewhere, and then I mentioned Buddhism, and
that's okay. We can go back to enlightenment. So and also what you said.
But your example made sense. Made sense.
So with enlightenment, so when people say attain enlightenment, it is in Eastern, and it's also in a lot of Christianity talks about enlightenment as well in different ways. And when they're talking about it, it's a finish line in the structure that they've created. And so a finish line doesn't exist. And even when we pass away, there's so many different things, and it's unique to each person and energy of what's going to happen, because we come from different things and different structures and things like that. So like when someone says you're going to heaven or paradise or these things, do they know what those really are? No, right? And also, do they know like that why would they even go there when their energy is blah blah blah? No, they wouldn't know that, right? So they're going to assume that, okay, this is a good thing, this is me doing good behavior, and I'm going to go here. So instead of understanding what that is, because I know a lot of religions, they won't let you, like, that's part of the thing. They're like, no, that's just, it's like this and that's it. But they don't go, okay, well, what does that mean to me? And so this is how it's changed. Is I was talking about earlier, I don't know if you're in the live when we were talking about basically the New Earth stuff, and like the thing where things like, were you there? I can talk a bit about New Earth. So New Earth is the thing that people are struggling with, because it has nothing to do with Earth. It has nothing to do with things like that. It's actually the simulation. So it's like this simulation being able to have more energy, more access. That's what it means.
Right. So that's what I was directly ask
Exactly.
about
So
that,
that's
yeah.
why I was thinking, yeah, so it's like it goes with it. So when you have that more access, it exists, but the thing is if you don't know it exists, the whole reason for this matrix, it like is so that you're limited based on what you know and your structures. If you don't know it exists and there's no one to help you find out that that exists, how are you going to explore even if you want to? You don't even know you want it, right? And so that's what was happening is there was no one doing it because no one wanted that. Like they didn't like not they didn't know they wanted that. They only knew, okay, so I'm struggling in this life and it's really horrible, and there's these people who devoted their life to talking to these bigger energies that are not here. They, for them it's just outside of earth, right? They're here, they're like magical, celestial, they made things and it's beautiful and they're peaceful and all this magical stuff. And so people are like, okay, well they talk to them and they're legit and it's real. And so like how can we get that too? Like do we get that when we like are not here anymore? And so that's how people were thinking. They were working with what they got. And now it's changed because with that system you think, okay, well I'm going to be my higher self. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be this energy I talk to. I'm going to be God. They don't even ask what those things are. They're just like, I'm going to be those things. And they don't even think, okay, well, even if we're going to do that, am I going to embody it here? Like they're just thinking after, because this is so horrible, 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 right? And now we have that, have that luxury of all of it. And the difference is that because all of our art and things talk about that, even though we have not only new access, like big access, but also when people talk about it, like for me, like I've been talking about this for a long time. And it's picking up now where because of the change in the energies, because people now have the access. So as soon as someone sees me and they remember me, and they either remember me for real or they remember me in the sense that they remember themselves, like in relation to me, if that makes sense. And it might be just a tiny thing, but that is what makes people just go like that when they see what I'm talking about. It helps them just go into themselves. And so that wasn't happening. So I was like in this echo chamber and I'm like, okay, what's going on for years? And so this is what that is. So enlightenment now is that. Enlightenment is you are, be the change, embody the change in your live your life, but embody the change. It's not seeking the change, be the change. So you choose what you want the change to be. You find out what your style of energy is. You hone in your skills, or you take the skills you already have and you be the change. So that's the new enlightenment. And you bring your energy to here. And then the more we do this, the more people flip to do this instead of taking up space with the same rotation of the same stuff. And when everyone flips, then we can all decide together. That one thing people are obsessed with, people finally get to do that and link arms and do that. But you can't do that.
So it's a lot faster, like that
it's not faster.
Yourself,
it's
like,
that people are on board because they start going, oh, this is like, I get to bring this stuff if I want to. I can do this. I love it. And we can make this nice for the people who don't want to do that. Some people don't want to do that. Some people just want to have kids and sit there and just hang out, and that's cool too. But those people get to benefit from that as well. So like the people who are like hungry, like me and us, we want to do stuff and we're like, yeah, like we can do that and come together, and then those other people can enjoy it as well, and also be limited if they want to, so they get that option.
Sure.
So that is the new enlightenment. The enlightenment is us. It's ourselves. We were talking about the infinity. So you have your truth, which is you in the creation story, and your biggest energy in the creation story, and your biggest energy in infinity. What was your energy doing in infinity? What shapes was it trying to hold? What did it become in? What like light do you like? For example, let's say your main big one is light, and then within there's all these different other things that you came across. Like, what is that story? What is that map and that stuff? And when you find that out, you find your little thread and you find out all those styles, and then you can translate it. So that is enlightenment now. It's no waiting.
That's really nice.
And then I was talking about also I don't know if you're here when I talked about the 3 purposes. So it's actually 2, but the third is so the third is what we're talking about. Is this new enlightenment is the third one. So,
I see. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can do all of them or one of them, doesn't matter. But like,
Yeah,
it's up to you.
No, and this is like, it's also like so much less, the way you talk about it is like so much less domineering than.
Yeah, because it's not
like,
supposed to be. That's people being
right.
angry and
It's
scared.
what sovereignty is, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. It's not supposed to be like that. And if it the thing is like I said, people are allowed to just hang out and have kids and not even like want to do anything. And I'm just saying kids because I know that people would just want to do that and hang out and have a little farm and stuff like that. And that is the same thing because they're happy and peaceful. But then there's people who are hungry, and those people that are hungry, they need to find like themselves, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's going on, and that's why I feel like it's good now, because now people actually they can do it. They can do it because they're just like, they can remember now, instead of it being like like we were talking about earlier, like instead of it being one rhetoric to another rhetoric that humans have created. Instead it's like, yes, I obviously am translating things that are very like not that. Like I always say that when I say this stuff, I'm like, it's not that, but this is the best I can think of so that you can explore, because we need to, they need to know it exists to explore it. Whereas, and I get scared though, because in religions they do that, but they don't say it, but still like someone could misinterpret it. So I get really scared about that. So I just always make double sure.
I think you do such a good you do such a good job of like saying something and then giving like a very discrete example and
thank
sure
you.
It's thoughtful, and it's like such a on the fly way. It's really
okay.
It's really like you learn, but you're like, okay, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm setting you free. I'm showing. I'm like, look, there's these cool things you can fly to over there. Go look at it. Instead, other people are like, this is what it is, and that's all there is. Don't look at it.
Yeah. No, I think you just said silver platter, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm all about the silver platter. I'm like, here you go.
Yeah.
And I have a series on the second tier of Patreon that's all about the silver platter. So it's like many little silver platter things. I'm like, here you go.
Okay. My job is a little intense right now, but I'm
yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I was just thinking because I have that series on there, and it's fun because I literally say that on there, so it's funny.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and also, have you got a chance to hear my podcast?
No, I have not.
Have a look. It's in my link in bio. It's on everything. It's on Spotify. It's on. I didn't put it on the other ones on it, but if you find it on like everything, it's on YouTube, even everything. So yeah.
Okay.
I made it so that everyone can see it. And then when it gets, because I tried to keep it linear, and then I go into the deep end on Patreon because I didn't want to scare people publicly, because like it's like I said, I got rid of planets basically, the Patreon ones, and I did it gently, but because when it happened to me,
do you mean what does that mean? You
so like
the energies of the planets?
Because keep in mind, everything we talk about, like everything, even when we do science, and the difference with science is it's a measurement or an observation of stuff that's happening, right?
Sure.
But when we're doing this infinity stuff, it's all symbols. Like let's be real here, right? And so like I took planets out of the equation because, and this is what my energies wanted to do, and I'm like, no. I'm like, I will do that later and find out how to do it. That's not brutal, but they were literally telling me, get rid of them. And I'm like, no, please, I need this. I need this as a prop. So I slowly did it. And then I realized why they meant that. And because a lot of the time these energies are very big. And so they don't, they show how things work in a very abstract way. And most of it is about feeling, kind of, and a little bit of geometry stuff. And so when they start doing it, they start flashing, and I'm just like living my life, and I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I can't do that right now. And it was then a very hard time for me because I had a community and everyone disappeared, and it was like a weird energy thing that happened. And I was like, this is like so intense. And then my partner he's from Iran, and he went to go to with his family there. And I was like by myself freaking out, and that was happening. And I'm like, oh my God, please, I need a break. So I delayed it a bit because I was just like, I can't do it. So I know how people feel. So that's why I didn't put it on the public. Like I didn't make anything public that is about this because I think people would like, it's just not, especially if someone just like we were talking about it on the live, it's okay because if someone does freak out, they'll probably say something. But I think people right now, I've done a lot of energy work to make sure that the people who come on the live are like ready.
Wait. Hold on. When you're saying you weren't talking metaphorically, you're just talking about like the new energies mean like the energies of the other planets that existed before are no longer here, or like the planet's physicality is no longer here.
Okay. So were you here when I talked about really quick about like, because the question was about why people why people are freaked out about like a new planet and like being put on another planet, that stuff, right? So it was that story. So I do have it on the first tier of Patreon, but it's from the perspective of Sophia and a version of Sophia and stuff like that. But basically what happened was it's only like not only they're like no, it's the idea of planets and the way we think of it, where we're going to go on a rocket ship and there's going to be blue aliens or something on a thing.
Of course not.
Doesn't exist.
No, that doesn't exist. Of course not. I mean, like,
yeah. So the planets, the planets are set up for us, and they're like we're streaming from them, but it's not just. It's obviously way more than that.
Yeah.
So they're symbolic.
I mean, I think like the Earth-centric view of the universe is actually a more correct metaphorically and energetically than like the sun-centered one, right?
Yeah, so you can think
they're both true in different ways, right?
Yeah.
But
so
it's like there's a reason why like that one was the one
exactly. And it's really cool though, is my reward for this nonsense was that when I'm obsessed with the Greek mythology because it's like home for me a lot. I was saying this like it's kind of embarrassing, but if they are about my energies stories. So obviously humans have put them to sew them together in little patchwork quilts, but they make me happy. And so when there's like weird inconsistencies, not only when I found out a lot of my original energy story, but also this, it really made me feel happy because my reward was that it made sense. I was like, I get what they were streaming. I get what they were channeling when they wrote these stories. So basically, like, for example, when they talk about Gaia and the Titans and things like that, those are the first in quotes, the original energies that jumped into the Matrix. And it's kind of like, this is a bit dramatic that one of them saying, I don't know who this is. They're being anonymous, but one of them is saying, you can think of it like dead bodies. But they're being dramatic, like they don't really mean it.
Yeah, like
because
like
they didn't know
the detritus of dead gods.
Yeah, right? So they didn't know that that's what would happen. Is that it's not dead, like they're alive, but like because they're streaming everything, right? But what happened is when they came in, that was what the reaction was. A lot of random things happen, and they're like, oh my god, like this reaction happened. So. But it was an emergency when they did this because they needed to fill it so that they could bring the children in there, blah, blah, blah. Again, that's in the story as well. And so they needed to do that very quickly because before it was, like I was saying, Sophia's little pocketbook, like little illustrations almost vibes. Yeah. And so they're like, okay, we need to get this serious, and Gaia jumps in. So Earth, in the sense, it was a universe only originally. It's her, right? And this is why I want to do these meditations for people, but the way it is outside of the Matrix, everywhere basically, is like shifting. So it's like you don't go to a planet, you just shift like to another perspective. Yeah. So like if you've ever shifted, that's what it's like for real, that's how it is. And you kind of see like this whole thing, and then you go to another thing, and you go to another thing, and that's how it is. And so having these Matrix things, that's why it ended up being kind of a precious thing. There's not just this Matrix now, they got inspired and made other ones. Like all the other universes did that, and they put them inside them. So you're like inside. So we are in. Let's see. It's like weird. So we're in etheric, and we're in Mars. But it's not the planet Mars, which is, he doesn't want me to say Kronos, so I'm just gonna say Mars, and then we're also in Gaia at the same time. And then on top of that, there's like ones that we're kind of in, and they come in and out, which is like the streaming kind of vibe, if that makes sense. So they're like there sometimes and not, and so there's sometimes and not. And then there's other stuff going on, but that is like the main like big guns of what we're in. So I went on a tangent, and I want to bring it back to what you said. I want to bring it back to what you said, because we went a bit far from there. But
yeah, that's fine.
What was it? What was the first thing you said before we went there? For this.
I said from when?
It was about, it had to do with, I think, Earth or something like that.
Oh.
Maybe it wasn't a question. Maybe I was just adding the thing about Gaia or Earth or whatever.
No, I was gonna say that's why, like, you know, like when they there's like telescopic evidence of like life on Mars, like, well, and like that's why they're like, okay, maybe like they have different stories about why that's the case. It's like, okay, like metaphor, like not metaphor, but energetically, like maybe that's like some sort of like resonance from like Earth being,
yeah, I mean,
like humans being on Earth, and like and older versions of humans.
Exactly.
Exist, but, like,
yeah, I think
Vulcan and so on.
Yeah, so you know how we travel with time and stuff like that, and we see stuff in time. Like the hint with that is like, you know how it's like when you see it and it already happened and all that stuff. That is kind of a hint that when they're looking, it's like, because time, like even time is another dimension within this matrix. So they're actually looking, because dimension, like obviously there's other things going on, but we're just going to stick with this matrix. So in this matrix, time, dimensions, oh my god, I don't know why it's getting all weird. Dimensions, realities, realms, all those are like little folder organizations so that we can stick to having one perspective and not do the shifting thing. It's part of being like a physical thing. So if they're looking, so you're onto something, when you're looking at in a telescope and it's in the past or the future or whatever, it's usually in the past, right? It's in the past because of how long you're looking. That shows, it's an indication of dimensions. Even like when we have time differences and we on this, and the way that, you know, it works, it's the same thing. It's a hint at another dimension, right? So anything that has to do with time, like I said, time and things like that, it's a dimension. So that's why when we number it, I'm like, you guys are doing a disservice to yourself, because it's not about numbers. It's about styles. It's about time periods. It's about all kinds of stuff is going on. But yeah.
Yeah.
So the Earth thing is like, it's a bit of an issue because of the information that is out there. Because if you think, like, it's a mess. Like even me, I finally, like I said, they almost had like a little party when I got it. But like I get it, but I'm like, wait a second. Like today there was something they were telling me, and I'm like, okay, but like you said Earth again, and they're like, oh yeah, sorry, and I'm like, okay, but like you can't do that to me now. I'm like, is it Earth universe? Is it the Matrix? Like, what is this? And so like that's what's happening now. So, but like at least it's like that though, because in the past it was, for me, it was always like they were coming to me and not knowing that I'm a human, and I'm like, oh my god. So at least they know I'm a human now, and they're making mistakes and saying the Earth thing. So.
Because they're assuming that you understand like whatever variant of like the word that they're maybe.
Yeah, because we were talking. It was very recent though, so like where I made the switch, because I was still holding on to it, because I was like, okay, how am I gonna? Because I went to the point where I got it, but I didn't get it in the sense of how I'm gonna translate it to other people. Like I was feeling comfortable in it. Like it's like when the paradoxes feel cozy, kind of. I'm like, okay. But then I'm like, okay, well, how am I gonna tell this to people?
That's I guess that's every like translators.
Exactly.
Job, yeah. Cool.
And so then when I got that, I'm like, okay. So now I'm like, I know, but yeah, I think, like I said, when I make an art piece, like I don't want to pressure myself, but I do know that when I do it, because I will, because I want to do it anyway. But is going to be very helpful. Because the other cool thing that's interesting about this is when the energies show me things and then I start building it in my head with my information, they correct it and are very specific about the sides and where things are. And it's very weird because you would think, like, who cares, right? But I know that there's some symbology, and I think because they know I'm like thinking of how I'm going to do the art, and I've talked to them about it, and I think because they're like, it's not important for you, but it's important to see it this way because it's going to make sense to people for some reason. I'm like, okay. So yeah, like I see it on a very specific, like there's like cycles of where they are, there's like rings and all this stuff going on. So we'll see. But yeah, I think it'll be fun because yeah. I think there's like this app that I saw, I've always been interested in. It reminds me of these books when my childhood where you zoom in. And so I'm thinking of something like that style where you see like the whole thing and then you can zoom in to see like what's going on in the scene. So we'll see.
That'll be fun.
It's ambitious, but
I'm excited. You're excited for that.
Yeah. So yeah, and the book as well. So it's all coming.
Thank you, Nicole.
I'm doing it. But anyway, yeah, it's my pleasure. Do you have one more question before I go? I have to figure also this stupid YouTube thing.
I guess an extended question would be like, how is since you mentioned it, how is the relationship with the higher self changed, I guess, with new energies? Because you said before it was like this way, and now.
So now we don't really, higher self is just basically, it always has been this, but like now people are starting to realize it, if that makes sense, kind of. They still say past lives, but every single time you talk to an ancestor or you talk to a quote unquote past life, which is parallel, you are basically talking to your higher self. When a medium talks to someone they think is dead, they're talking to their higher self. Because the higher self holds all the memories of the earth. So memories, people don't understand how important memories are. Like they're just literally our information. And so when they're talking to them and they're like, doing evidential mediumship, they're basically, usually the best information you can get is from that higher self that's holding all the things. And then you can also ask for the one that's specifically you. So like that thing, the anchors. So, and I'm doing a circle because that's how that looks to me. But yeah, so they're all the anchors. So like, let's say you have like, in this matrix, your energy is located in a billion. It's obviously going to be more than this, but let's say there's a billion different versions. Like one's in a place that looks like Egypt, one is a place that looks like futuristic, but it has like robots in it and also like Victorian stuff. So there's like all that stuff going on, and you have all these different versions that your higher self, if you talk to them for that, that's basically what you would be doing. You'd be talking about like, hey, can you connect me with a parallel life? Hey, can you connect me to the ancestors? Can you like connect me to this ancestor because I feel like I really don't like this, I don't know, genetic trait that I have, and I see, or I'm a part of this culture and I don't like this. Can I talk to a version of them that like, and so they'll pull a memory, which is just an information or a version. Sometimes they're like conscious. It's happened to me before. And they know, like, it's not just like a piece of them or whatever, or a memory or whatever. It's like literally them, and they're like doing a meditation or something. And it's really funny. Like, they're like, oh, hi! And I'm like, hi! But it's kind of like, you can think of them like connecting you, like a collect call kind of like they're connecting you to the other version. So that's kind of what the higher self is now. And you can also ask them about the story as well, because that's important too. So like, for example, when I talk to mine, a long time ago, she was like, you know that I'm like not a real one. And I'm like, what does that mean? And she's like, you're not ready for this, but I'm not the real one. And I'm like, okay. And so I found out that it's more complicated, not straightforward. So I found out there's obviously way more, but this is the example. So there's this version of me. You can think of it like, I call them avatars, and they kind of are like um, versions that you make experiences with that are not quite physical, and to try stuff out in the etheric and also paradise and things like that. And etheric is like the sketches and like the, when angels like Metatron stuff and cubes and like all that stuff. That's kind of etheric, but like it's more magical than that. It's not boring. It's very cool. And then there's also paradise, which is, and again, we have all of this in us. So it's not like a thing. It's like it's there and it's in us.
So you create an avatar for like a specific realm or like
yeah, and it's so that and you have preferences. So for example, light is one of the main beings of creation, and she's ditzy because she's missing me, who's in like a piece of her that was in a tent and like all this random stuff, and I'm gonna write it in the book. But basically, she's a bit ditzy and has like she's having an awakening right now. But anyway, because she's got her pieces back and she's like slowly realizing stuff, and there's a lot of problems, and it's really dramatic and funny, and I'm like, oh my god, like what? But she basically made Arabella, and so other energies were involved as well, but they made her in the sense like she wanted it to happen, and then like I said, I'm going to do the whole story, and it's very cute and poetic. And so basically she's kind of her and her mother, because the mother is also one of those. She's a mix of chaos and a version of me and someone else, and then she ends up being Hecate when she makes the underworld. It's wild. But anyway, so the two of them, it's very wild. The two of them basically are like, okay, they keep coming to me all the time because their storyline has a lot to do with why I'm able to, as that big energy, to come and like do an overlay. So she gave herself Arabella, which I named her because her name is like not so random. And she's like, okay. So basically Arabella came and she's an overlay over the energies that are already here, like in here. So that energy doesn't like mess things up, because we know how random stuff happens. And so she devoted her life to that, like, because obviously there's another version of her and it's fine, but that one is like devoted her life. So that's my true like one, I guess, and like the other one's like, see, now you know. And I'm like, okay. But that's what would happen, is you can learn from those things. You can learn like how, like, why is your energy here? Like, was there one big thing, or is there many? Is like, I've had clients that have so many different ones, like I do too, but like it's not like this person, they have like so many because they did like, there were certain projects they needed to do, and it's complicated, like especially since there's so many dimensions that are like have nothing to do with the rules here, but then they do. And so you need to like have your energy situated in different ways. But anyway, so that's what you can learn. So you can learn about where you are everywhere, and you can connect to them and ask them for yourself, or like the other ones that she can connect you to. Or for example, there's a million of them. So like William Blake is one of mine, like one of the ones that are like random, and I've met like 5 of them, and one of them's like intense and like drunk and wild, and I had to call the higher self. Basically, I'm like, is this really him? Like, and she's like, yeah, like you haven't met all of them. I'm like, oh shit. So anyway, so like, and he was really intense. Like he'd wake me up in the night, like telling me to do like weird little movements when I sleep and stuff, and I'm like, okay. And it actually helped. But anyway, so yeah, so then you can ask, and they kind of are like, they're the medium basically. So they'll be like, yeah, blah blah blah, this is like how, or like there's also complicated things where they're not quite your an anchor, and they'll explain why and stuff like that. So yeah. But it's wild.
Yeah.
How do you feel about higher self?
About what?
How do you feel about higher self when you like think about it?
I'm not sure. I feel like a lot of this stuff is kind of hidden from me, or has been hidden for such a long time, and like it's just like layers and layers of like cruft being removed, and I'm in my 40s now. I'm only starting to get like a sense of like this stuff as like this like really weighty stuff. Kind of it's been getting sloughed off. So
don't worry about age. I'm gonna be 40 in like the 28th. So don't worry.
You know, it's like all the years of like living opacity and like, you know, like all these like kind of like transformations that you go through.
Yeah, but see, I would disagree with you. I think that we are so mean to ourselves and we don't see that like everything is like valuable. Like it's not like, you know how we're mean to ourselves. We're like, oh, I was saying this earlier, by the way, so that's why I'm like I'm telling you this. I was saying this to my partner. I was like, okay, well, I'm like gonna be 40, so I like it shouldn't be like this, blah 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 blah. So don't worry, like it happens. So I'm just saying, like, you know I was doing that, so I'm like telling you don't. We both shouldn't.
I'm only saying because I feel like I've lived so many lives internally like that. Yeah.
But that's cool, right?
Yeah, it's really. I mean, it's really crazy. And they're all like necessary for growth to get you to where you are now and where you're gonna be. And sometimes like that stuff is very, very heavy. And you can treat it with reverence and a little bit of lightness now when you're going through it. It's hard. But I don't know. I feel like it's like that kind of stuff has always been a little hands off for me, and that like maybe I wanted to go through like difficult things very blindly without having my hands held, and that was like the choice. And now it's like I reach out to things, and spirits and beings are there.
Good.
So it's very different, you know. Like it's. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just it is a deepening, but it's also like a revolution inwards, which is.
It truly is. That's why everybody's like, they're gonna save us. I'm like, no, we're really saving ourselves, like for real. Like.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I believe. Yeah, too.
Yeah.
Nothing saves you from outside. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, like I got to experience it. I got to be out of the matrix. I know how it looks. It's like, you can see that it's just like. That's why I get so sad. Like, you know, we all are sad when we see the horrible things that humans can do to each other. But I'm like, how could you, if you knew that this is like, you get to bring what you want, like, why are you doing that? That's what I think. I'm like, that's not nice. Like, we could be doing such cool stuff. Like, why are you doing that? Like,
absolutely.
It's like gatekeeping. They're like gatekeeping their cool stuff that I want to know about. And they're being mean to people at the same time. I'm like, excuse me?
Not making it about yourself.
I know. I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, if you can't do it for everybody else and you want to be mean, can you at least do it for me? I'm like, I want to know where you're from.
I do love that.
But yeah, it's funny. Like, just I'm like were you here when that live? It was like a couple weeks ago where this guy was like asking about something random, and then I was like, he asked about like third eye or something, and I said, well, we're gonna open it now, and he was like, oh my god, I'm so powerful. It was so cute. It was just.
I literally joined TikTok like 10 days ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I put it on. It's I don't know which one it is, but it's not like that long ago, but it's on it's on YouTube. It's very cute.
Okay. I'll find out.
It's a quick one, but like obviously the live is long, but like that is a quick one. But it was so cute. Like like he got a little bit scared at the ancestor part, but he was like so on board with opening that. He's like, oh, I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm powerful. That's so cute. But that's the thing, is like everyone can do this. Like, stop it. But yeah. All right. Do you have one more question before I go?
That's all I have.
Okay. All right. Well, it has been lovely. And for anyone who's watching, have a look at my stuff. I have like a, what do you call it, a podcast. It depends on what format you like it, but they're like everywhere. And also it's even on Patreon publicly as well, so it's like everywhere. So if you want to go on Patreon, it's on there. If you want to go on YouTube, it's there. I also have all the tools that I help people with. Ooh! It's so random when that happened. All the tools that these little, oh my god, these little tool workbooks are basically. Oh no, sorry, I invited someone. Sorry. These tool workbooks are basically all the different things like that you can work on, and if you're a Patreon member, you can come on the live and not just ask like the normal topics. You can actually ask a question about yourself, and then I will give you tools that are not just in these books. Whatever applies, there's even more, and it'll be tailored to you. Also, what else? I have little reading things too that are a part of the Patreon. Oh my god, what is going on with the light? And yeah, so I have a lot of stuff to have a look. I have many videos. I've been on TikTok for a while, so I have many videos on here too. So have a look, and I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow. Depends. I think I have a session, so we'll see. But yeah, it was nice to meet you, and see you soon. Bye. Okay, how am I gonna do this? I don't know how to do this. Do you know how to stop this live? I did the YouTube for the first time, and I don't know how to stop it. So when I end, it'll save, right? Because that's what it's supposed to do. Because there's no other way to save it, so it'll just save, right? And not everybody's gonna see this.
Guess, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing else. I've tried everything.